Hello, a very happy October to you. Last year during the December holidays, I did one of my favorite crafts that I have possibly ever done, and it was a garland inspired by the Pillsbury holiday cookies, like the picture cookies that come out every major mainstream holiday-ish. I know they have like football ones now too. They're seasonal. And I really wanted this October to do another one inspired by the Halloween cookies. I really enjoyed doing this last time. It wasn't that hard, so let's just get into it. You're not gonna need a whole lot for this craft. The price range is easily under $30, if not under $20, depending on what you already have. The main thing you're going to need to pick out is the felt. So I'm going to be doing the pumpkin, the cat, the ghost, and the bat. The bat, I'm not sure you can actually buy in circle cookie form anymore, but it did used to exist, and so I'm going to be including it, and I want to do 3 of each picture. So I got 4 sheets of felt in what's going to be my background, the plain sugar cookie color, 2 orange, 1 green, 1 purple, 2 black, 1 yellow, and 1 kind of like burgundy maroon. I'm gonna use that for the cat because I wanted it to be distinct from the bats that I'm going to use the black for. And on the cookies, it kind of looked like a reddish brown, and they didn't have that color felt anywhere that I could find. So I just went with this dark kind of burgundy color, and I think it fits in with the fall tones well. You're going to need a sewing kit or fabric glue, whichever you prefer. You are going to need what is called a felting kit or a needle felting kit. You can get these at most craft stores. You can also get them online. These are super easy to use, not very expensive, and I'm really happy I have it now because I really like the look of these felted type crafts, and I'm excited to be able to use them more in the future. You'll also need some twine, some string, whatever you please, to hang your creations up and make them a garland. I found this set at the dollar store and it had the orange in it. I think I'm going to use the orange. I'm not sure if I'm going to like it though, and so if I don't, I might use the blue, or I might just use the metallic silver one that I have left over from the holidays. Either way, you can use whatever you want. String. You need string. Finally, you're going to need some sort of stuffing for your cookies. Since these are going to be essentially tiny little miniature like pillows that we're making, we are going to need something to stuff them with. You can literally just use cut up pieces of scrap fabric. You can use pieces of the extra felt that you have left over and like chop those up. I happen to have some extra pieces of yarn from making pom-poms for a different garland, a pom-pom garland, and so I'm going to use those extra tiny little pieces of cut up yarn because they're literally the perfect size for this, and I have no other use for them. But you can use truly whatever you want. Do not buy something to stuff these with. I mean, I guess you can if you want, but be creative, be sustainable, use something you would otherwise have thrown away or put in the scrap bin. You're also going to want scissors if you don't have scissors that come with the sewing kit, or you're not using the sewing kit, as well as chalk or a marker or pencil, something to draw out the cutouts that you're going to be doing on each piece of felt for each picture. So now we're just gonna start cutting out our shapes, starting with our cookies. There are 4 pictures and I want to do 3 of each, so that is 24 total because each cookie needs a front and a back, and 4 times 3 is 12. You guys can do math. So each cookie is going to need 2 sides to it. Like I said, they're going to be like little pillows. We put together the front side with the picture on it and the back side that is plain, and we're going to sew them together and then stuff them to make little cookie pillows. So remember that whatever size circle you cut out, the actual cookie is going to be a teeny bit smaller than the circle is laying flat. So make these circles just a little bit bigger than you want your actual cookies on your garland to end up. I just ended up going through different like glasses and like circular things in my house to try and figure out what felt like a good size, and then I just traced that 24 times onto my felt, and then I had my cookies. Now we can move on to cutting out the shapes for our images. What we're going to be doing is each single space of color on each of these pictures, we're going to be cutting out and putting together like puzzle pieces, and then using the felting needle to stick them in. So starting with probably the easiest one, the bat, I'm just going to trace and cut out 3 bats from the black felt. The best way I found to do this is actually to cut out the cookie size circles first so that I know like the backdrop that the image is going to be going onto, so I can make sure it's the right size. Kind of sketching out the bat shape, figure out the first one, and then use the first one to kind of trace the second one and the third one. So that was easy because the bat is only one color and one shape. If we move on to the cat, it's a little bit more difficult. Again, it's just a matter of getting the right size and the right shape, and you can kind of mess with it. That's what's nice about only doing 3 of each image, is that you have some extra felt to kind of mess up and do wrong tracings on, especially if you use chalk to do your outlines. You can kind of wipe it away and start over. The pumpkin has a couple different colors, and so I started with the orange body of the pumpkin, and then from there moved on to the mouth and the stem bits, and I popped them in a little plastic bag because I was concerned I was going to lose them. I did the same thing for the ghost, just kind of working backwards color by color and setting things on top of each other to see how they would look, and snipping and adjusting accordingly. Finally, I had all of my pieces cut out and we were ready to felt, which is very, very exciting because I find this just incredibly satisfying, and soon you will too. Stack your colored piece on top of your cookie piece of felt on top of your little block of styrofoam, and make sure you have finger protectors on whatever you are holding the actual pieces of felt with. Trust me, you won't think you'll need them until you stab your finger, and then you'll be bleeding and you'll be very unhappy, and there will be blood on your project and you'll be very sad. Don't ask me how I know. But you literally just like stick it into the 2 different layers of felt over and over and over again, and what you can realize it's doing when you pick it up after you've done it a little bit is that it's forcing the weave of both fabrics to get caught together and become one. So the more you do it, the more it binds them together, and the more they become tangled in to one piece, and the denser the weave between the 2 of them becomes, and the more solid the kind of like adhesion of the 2 colors of felt becomes, if that makes sense. More sticky with needle equals more sticky together, yes? I love projects like this that are just easy to do at the end of the night when you're like listening to a podcast, or you have your show on, you're having a little sippy sip, you're having a little snacky snack. It's just so relaxing and satisfying, and truly like is so incredibly good for not only my mental health, but I really believe my soul. So take your time doing this, don't rush. The tiny little pieces are the hardest. You really just have to make sure you get that needle in there and then back out a fair few times, and it'll start kind of sticking together and it'll become easier. You can even use the needle to kind of like take the colored pieces of fiber and like shape them how you need them to be. It's really, really easy to work with, and once you start doing it, you kind of realize how moldable and able to like change and fix your mistakes it is. So you really just puzzle piece together all of your color blocks for the images, and then needle felt them on in your own time, preferably with a spooky podcast. Now that we're done with the front of our cookies, we actually need to do a tiny bit of work on the back, because the back of the cookies is where we are going to be attaching to our string, our twine, or whatever you picked to turn your cookies into a garland. You can do this a few ways. You can do it with a little tab hanging at the top, or you can do it directly on the back. If you do it on the back, I suggest doing it towards the top so that the cookies kind of hang more down from the string rather than sitting right in the center. They tend to kind of like flop around and look weird that way. In my experience, you can do whatever you want. The holiday one I had, I attached the tabs to kind of the back top. This time I actually would like to do them hanging off of the top to have a little more of a dangling look. And so all you need to do is create these tiny little rectangle strips of felt in whatever color or colors you please. You can do the same color as the cookies to kind of have it blend in, or you can do it in seasonal colors that match the images, whatever you like. And then you're just going to sew them in a loop to the top of the blank back sides of each cookie. Again, this is super easy. You can also use fabric glue if you want to. I am just much more of a hand sewing girly, so that's what I chose to do. Now, the front and the back are done and they can kiss. We can put them together. The way I chose to do this was sewing as close to the edge as I possibly could, about 75% of the way around, starting to stuff them and then closing that gap from the outside. Whatever you please, but please make sure to stop 75% of the way, stuff them, and then sew them closed, and your little cookie dumplings are ready to hang. Measure your twine for whatever area you would like to hang them in and string your cookies on through. Let me know how it worked out for you, and let me know how you liked this little spooky Halloween craft. I was really excited to do this and I'm really happy with how it turned out. Let me know how you guys liked it, and I will see you very soon. We have a poem of the month coming up, we have a fall read with me coming up, and just a handful of other cozy videos that I'm excited to share with you guys. So thank you so very much for being here. Give it a like if you liked it. Let me know your thoughts and how it turned out down in the comments, please. And subscribe for more happy, cozy videos. Thank you so much for being here once again. Mwah. Oh, and if you like Taylor Swift, feel free to check out my other channel. That's what I do over there. Okay, bye.